West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another quick edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and as you should know by now, I am here live in Antigua. First things first, it's Friday, the 1st of November, and we got to send the flowers and big ups to the Antiguan populace and diaspora. It is Antigua's 43rd Independence Day today, and obviously Antigua is awash with national celebrations and so on and so forth in that regard. So big up everybody in Antigua, and God bless, and go forth and prosper. I just want to do a quick video, obviously reflecting on yesterday's first ODI between West Indies and England. For those of you who tuned in, I was on talkSPORT for a lot of the match, commentating with Mark Butcher on proceedings, as well as the team back in the studios in London, Andrew McKenna, Neil Manthorpe, Steve Harmison, Philo Wallace, and Darren Goff. And that was all good fun, the commentary journey that I'm on. Can you even call it a journey? But yeah, certainly it's good fun. And at the international level, do you know what? For those of you who maybe have interest in getting to something like this, it's almost like playing cricket. So comms at the regional level, and by regional level for me, I mean when I've done it for BBC, like county games or one-day games, T20 games, whatever it might be, that is far easier than when you step up to the international level. Mark Butcher is as brilliant as he sounds when you lot hear him on TV. He's so thoughtful in what he's saying, and I can't pretend to have a kind of broadcasting manual that says, and this is I've not been trained in this stuff. I can't pretend to have a broadcasting manual that says, and this is what you're supposed to do, and this is when you say it, and when, and so on and so forth. But Butcher is brilliant at bringing the listener in, because if you think about radio, right, you're not there. And Butcher kind of just showed me a masterclass in how you make the listener feel like they're there with you, like feeling and breathing every single ball. So that was an honor and a pleasure to be alongside Butch yesterday. And if you get, and this goes for any profession and any field people, if you get an opportunity to work with somebody who is an expert in the field, whatever that field may be, just soak it all up, breathe it all in. And if you get a chance, you just chat with the people and say, I love how you did that stuff, and see if you can, like garner some skills and knowledge from them, So yeah, that was that. That was all good. I'll be on comms again tomorrow with Butch again for the second game, obviously at Sir Viv Stadium again. And West Indies are 1-0 up. And based on how West Indies performed in that first game, England are already up against it. It's only a 3-match test series, and if people are studying like who wins these series is super important, it could all be said and done after the game tomorrow at Sir Viv. Before we get into the game itself, something that I kind of alluded to at the start of comms when I was speaking to the team back in London, I said that at the start of the game, the stadium looked about half full, and majority England fans. But I did say that I thought as the game went on, you'd see more and more of the local populace come in. And certainly now some will say I'm exaggerating here, but this is what I genuinely believe this. By the end of the match, obviously there'd been 2 rain intervals and showers. I genuinely believe the crowd was about 50-50. Lots of Antiguans came in, particularly when West Indies were batting, and we were kind of in like the night version of the game. So after England had their innings, I felt there was more and more Antiguans in the ground. And I don't know if that came across on TV. I don't know if that came across on radios with the effects mics, etc. But it wasn't like a test match where a West Indian hits a boundary and they're greeted with the polite applause of the travelling England fans. When Evan Lewis was going ballistic, the people cheering were the locals. They were the ones pumping up their chests and getting hype and so on and so forth, and you could audibly hear them in the ground. I suspect that it will be even bigger tomorrow. It's a weekend tomorrow. It's the day after, so it's a day off today, and then it's the weekend. So I suspect that actually you'll have a lot of Antiguans, or should have a lot of Antiguans in the ground for the second ODI. The tickets are relatively cheap. I think it's 20 EC that they're selling the cheapest tickets at in the ground. There might even be some being sold at 15 EC, and that is cheap. That is really cheap for a game of cricket in this country. Maybe some Antiguans will get in the comments below and say, no, it should be cheaper than that. But I think the tickets are really cheap. The only issue with Sir Viv, if you've never been to Antigua before, people, it's so far away. It's like, it's probably, if you're staying like near like English Harbour, St. John's, etc., you're looking at a half-an-hour car ride to get out to Sir Viv. And some will say, oh, it's only half an hour, but like it's not. Yes, there's shuttle buses, but it's not easily accessible. You have to go on a significant car ride to get out to the stadium. The stadium itself's really nice. It's really, really nice. I think it's one of the better stadia in the Caribbean, to be honest, in terms of infrastructure and being set up for international cricket. It's just far away. But anyways, I've loved my experience in Antigua. And tomorrow, so what happens tomorrow is I go to the match. It starts at 9:30 Antiguan time. I'm going to be there probably for the duration of the match, and then well, I think he'll finish around 4:30, and then I go straight to the airport from the ground and I fly back to England. So that's how hectic my day is going to be tomorrow. The comms team are going to see me coming in with a suitcase. Going to leave from the stadium and go straight to the airport and fly back to England. But anyways, let's reflect on the game. So first innings, England were bowled out for 209, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I mean, I don't care, like whatever. But it wasn't good. England handed 4 debuts out. I think Dan Mousley, who else got a debut? Jordan Cox. So let me go back and look at the. So Dan Mousley, Jordan Cox, John Turner, and I think it was Jamie Overton, the other debutant. And it's worth mentioning, and again, I'm not, people get at me in the comments below, I'm not making excuses for England, but it's worth mentioning that a lot of England's senior players that you would expect to play in the Champions Trophy, your Joe Roots, your Josh Butlers, your Gus Atkinsons, your maybe Ben Stokes, I don't know. But a lot of their senior guys aren't on this tour. That's why Liam Livingstone has ended up as captain, right? So you had this situation with England where you had really and truly Jordan Cox and Jacob Bethel. They've barely played any list A games. Mark Butcher was saying it on comms with me. Like, between the two of them, they might only have played about 10 list A games in their career. And they're suddenly playing an ODI. They're suddenly playing ODIs. So England are in this weird position where they're so committed to this kind of philosophy. If we want to call it baseball, call it baseball. But they're so committed to this philosophy of encouraging players to play their natural style and being aggressive and promoting players who fit that model rather than if they've actually got the weight of runs behind them. They're so tied into that you've got this situation where players like Jordan Cox and Jacob Bethel are playing international ODI cricket and learning on the job without any substantial list A cricket behind them, which is well, is it crazy? Because check this out, right? If Nicholas Pooran was English, Brendan McCullum would have called him into the test squad. If Nicholas Pooran was English, Brendan McCullum would be promoting that guy into all of his teams, saying, I don't need to see this guy play red ball cricket. He's got the skill set. And then here we are in the West Indies clutching pearls going, oh, he should play some red ball matches and prove himself. Do you see how dunderous this thinking is? England aren't afraid to see a young blood and say, you've got the skill set. Jacob Bethel, you're only 20 years old, but we can see you've got the skill set. It doesn't matter if you haven't got the volume of cricket behind you. In you come. Jordan Cox, same thing. In you come. The spinner who didn't play today, Jaffer Chauhan, he ain't even played a list A game in his life. He's in the squad. Do you see where I'm coming from? So England are a bit braver with how they go about things. Does it mean they're right? That's a different question and a different analysis altogether. But they're brave. They're certainly brave. But anyways, this bravery was downfall for me. Because when you look at the top six, or if you look at even, I still maintain 8 or 9 of those dismissals were unnecessary. I'm not saying West Indies didn't bowl well. I'll get to that in a minute. But you look at the nature of the dismissals, and a lot of them were trying to clear the inner circle. So West Indies, generally speaking, in the first 15, 20 overs, had 3 either side, offside, leg side, inside the inner circle, and were essentially bowling to a cross seam plan where they were telling the England batters, go over the top if you dare. And because of the kind of stodgy, sticky nature of the wicket, the ball wasn't zipping through. It wasn't coming onto the bat nicely, right? I think the phrase I used with Butch was, I said to him, the players are having to work very hard to get full value for their shots, right? So there wasn't a lot of freedom for the England batters to free their arms and do the cross bat shots that they like to do and go over the top and hit it over the boundary rope. I think until Liam Livingstone hit a 6 somewhere in like the 26th or 27th over, that was the first 6 of the innings. He was the only English batter that seemed to get to grips with the nature of the wicket. I think he scored 48 or 49 and was relatively fluent till even he holed out to a big shot. He went one big shot too many, right? So England just never truly, they weren't pragmatic. They weren't pragmatic. They didn't adapt their game to what that pitch actually required. To me, it was the type of pitch where you had to work out from about the 20th over, although I think, how many wickets had they already lost? 4 by the 20th. They lost their 4th at 20.5, right? So before the 18th over, or at the start of the 18th over, they were 80 odd for 2. And Cox and Bethel went out to similar like heave hole cross batted shots caught just outside the circle, etc. And at that point, it was like, yeah, you want to play your aggressive natural game, but have you worked out yet that this might not be the wicket for that? Have you worked out that this might be the type of wicket where you say, let's just nudge and nurdle, put away the occasional bad ball for 4 or a 6 if the shot is on, and get ourselves up to 260, which is par in Antigua, or that's the par score, if not the par score to win with, right? Let's nudge and nurdle our way to 260, 270 and give us something to bowl at. At the bare minimum, let's bat out the overs. England were bowled out all out for 45 overs. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. And I'm not here to run interference for England or do analysis and say, oh, England, why aren't you better? I'm just saying it's not good enough. If that was West Indies batting, I would have said the exact same thing. It's not good enough. At the bare minimum in 50 overs cricket, you've got to bat out the 50 overs. And unless you can hand on your heart say, boy, they bowled really well, West Indies, and that's what it was. We bowled all right, but certainly a lot of that cricket was kind of dunce and ballsy cricket, which got the kind of rewards it deserved, which is 209 all out. That notwithstanding, I thought Jayden Seales was brilliant up top. And actually, let me give kudos to Darren Sammy and Shea Hope and the think tank, right? Because the easy thing to do would have been to say, boy, Jayden didn't have a good time of it in Sri Lanka. Jayden, you know what? Hold a little 1 drop and let's bring Shamar Joseph in or Romario Shepherd in. That would have been the obvious thing to do. They persisted with Jayden. Remember, Starboy's only 22, 23, right? It's the right thing. Again, Butch and I were talking about this. It's the right thing to persist with Starboy. We know what he can do in Test cricket. He's got youth on his side. We've got 3 years, till the World Cup qualifiers. In fact, not even 3 years, a bit years till the World Cup qualifiers. It makes sense that you would look at Jayden in Test and say, let's give him the time to marinate and find that skill set that he needs in white ball cricket. Because if it comes off and if we can get Jayden to where we need to get Jayden to, that will be an amazing addition to the West Indies white ball setup in terms of a potential wicket taker, fast bowling wicket taker that up till now, it's always looked like Alzari Joseph is really the only one that we've got. So it was good to see Jayden up top. Matthew Ford took a bit of tap up top, but returned well. He 2 for 4 chaser. He was better in his second spell. Roston Chase. I wanna big up Roston Chase. Roston Chase doesn't take many wickets in ODI cricket, but what he does do, and we've said it on the show before, is he bowls good defensive lines. Roston Chase is our best defensive bowler. He's never, generally speaking, he's never going to go like 3 for 45 or something. But what you can guarantee from Roston Chase 8 or 9 times out of 10 is that he'll go 1 for 50, 1 for 45, none for 40. And in the grand scheme of a 50 over innings, if you've got a bowler where you know he's going to get through his 10 and is going to be pretty economical and will be able to bowl him through the middle phases and no one will really be able to put him away, that means already with your 50 over allocation, you can chalk 10 up and go, that guy can get the job done. Maybe not in wickets, but he can get the job done from an economy perspective. Roston's not there to be a strike bowler. He's there to make sure we get through 10 in a miserly way. And I thought he did that. I think he did that job to perfection yesterday, 10 overs, none for 47. Obviously, King Multi does what King Multi does. I said a couple of videos ago, or maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, that Multi is world class. I'm standing on business with this one. I'm standing on my business with this. King Multi, Gudakesh Multi, is world class. Before he took his first wicket, it sounds like I'm just bigging myself up, but it's true. Go back and listen to the comms. It's on talkSPORT on their YouTube page. I said to Butch before Multi took his first wicket, I said, you can't keep Multi out the game. He's going to take wickets in this match because that's what King Multi does. That we are blessed to have King Multi and know that Multi's a strike bowler. He is a strike bowler. Anyways, let me not go further. There's a listener who's said to me, and I'm not criticizing you, by the way, he knows who he is. You said to me that Multi's not world class till he can prove it in Test cricket. And I hear that. I get where you're coming from with that. But I'm saying to you that Multi's a world class spin bowler. He's the best spin bowler we've had come out of this region since well, Narine, I guess, give or take the issues with his action. But if we remove Narine, Akil Hussain, and then it's Dinesh Ramnarine. Those are the best spinners I've seen in my time in kind of modern history. Someone's about to message and go, what about this guy? But those are the best four that I've seen. Dinesh Ramnarine, Sunil Narine, Akil Hussain, and then King Multi, who I think is probably better than all three of them. Narine's action notwithstanding. Who did I miss out? Alzari took 2 for 46. I mean, there was the usual drops and misfields of Alzari. I think with Alzari, like Alzari's always going to take wickets in white ball. Sometimes he'll be expensive. Sometimes he'll have a really good day. But he is our premier pacer. I didn't think he was fully on form. I think that first spell he bowled was 4 overs, none for 34 or something like that. So obviously he came back a bit better. I think it was 4 overs, none for 30 actually. So in his next 4, he went 2 for 16. So he did come back better. So, we take what we can with Alzari. But anyways, the point is the bowlers bowled well. On what was a stodgy wicket, I think we adapted very quickly to what was needed, realised you needed to go cross seam, realised that there was a bit of grip and purchase on the wicket if you bowled into it a bit fuller as well and didn't give the width that the English batters were looking for. So I thought we did our job. With the ball. And then obviously we came out, there was a rain break in between the intervals. We managed to get back out before the hour mark, so we didn't lose any overs. And we raced away to 81 without loss before the rain came back again at the 15 over mark. Brandon King scored 30. Now hear me out, people. Brandon King is my chargy, right? And obviously fellow Jamaican, and I have a lot of time for Brandon King. I think he's a classy player. But hear me now, right, people? This is the first time we're officially saying this on the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Or certainly it's the first time I'm saying this. I don't think Brandon King should be opening in ODI cricket. I'll accept it in T20s. I do not think Brandon King should be opening in ODI cricket. I think if you're going to play Brandon King, he should be in the middle order somewhere. I think opening is not the best slot for him. in 50 over cricket. I get why they're doing it. I'm sure they just want to replicate what he does in T20 cricket, in ODI cricket. But Brandon currently in his last 10 ODI innings has no 50s. Should be coming under scrutiny for that. But I get why you'd persist with Brandon, because he's got the game. He's classy. When it comes off, it looks very good. But I just think at the top level in ODI cricket, opening's not the gig for him. This is the first time I'm saying it. I'm just dropping it into the chat. I'm letting that one marinate with some of you. Come at me in the comments below if you disagree. I'm not saying take him out the team. I'm saying that I don't think this is the best spot for Brandon King. And actually, do you know what? As I'm saying that, let me go pull some stats, because I'm sure there's going to be some people who are going to get in the comments and go, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, cool. Check this out. Let me pull my stats to kind of... I don't even know if this is correct, but okay, so here we go. So Brandon King has opened... I didn't even know these stats before I said it, people, but... So Brandon King has opened 25 times, and his average at the moment in the opening position is 30. And obviously he scored 30 against England. I think that was 30 streaky and lucky runs. I thought he was lucky to still be there by the time he got out. I think he'd come under significant scrutiny from John Turner, and then eventually Liam Livingstone got him out. But it was a scratchy innings, right? So opening, Brandon's played 25 innings, 200s, 350s, 30. So the numbers probably support that he should be there, right? At number 3, he's played 1 innings, so we can't, that's no sample size. Number 4, 11 innings, only 150, averages 18. Number 5, 4 innings, 250s, averages 82. Although, of course, at number 5, those innings were against 3 against Netherlands and 1 against Pakistan, right? Opening, so the 25 innings Brandon has had opening, and he's got 200s and 350s, right? So let me just check. Those 200s have come against UAE and Oman. Okay, so the 200s have come against UAE and Oman. The 350s in the opening spot have come against South Africa, UAE, and the Netherlands. So if you add on the 250s from play number 5, which also came against the Netherlands, that would mean that of the 5 international 50s, is it 5 that Brandon's got? Let me just check his overall numbers, people. Yeah, no, not 5. Sorry, 6. Oh, 1 came at number 4. Sorry. So of the 6 international 50s that Brandon has got, 1 came against India, 1 came against South Africa, 4 came against associate sides, and the 200s came against associate sides. Listen again, I'm a Brandon King fan, but if we're going to be honest and have realistic conversations, he's part of the inconsistencies in the ODI team. My thing is, I think he's playing in the wrong position. That's where I'm at the moment. I think he should be in the team. I just think he's in the wrong position right now. But, you know, I'm sure that will garner some kind of debate. Get at me in the comments below. Who won cuss, and we move. But obviously the innings was lit up by Evan Lewis. 94 runs from 69 balls, following up his return to ODI cricket in Sri Lanka, where he scored 102 not out from 60-odd balls as well. I'm not going to get into it too much. There's already a YouTube short that's out. You've probably seen it on Instagram, on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, whatever, right? Santoki and I have spoken about Evan Lewis so many times. We've said so many occasions when they were saying that he'd failed fitness tests, when they were saying that he'd made himself unavailable, when Desi said that Evan was building a house. We were consistent through the whole thing, and we kept on saying, please, someone sit down with Evan. Sit down with him, travel to his house, knock on his door, break bread, and say, Evan, what's it going to take to bring you back into the fold? Anyways, let's not go over the spilt milk. He's here now. He's back. 3 years out from his last real stint in ODI cricket, and he's back with a bang. 102 not out, followed by a 94. That fixes one of our opening spots. So Evan Lewis, all being well, Sammy still being coach, when we go to the World Cup qualifiers in 2 years or so, Evan Lewis should be an opener. Obviously, that fixes one of the opening spots. It doesn't matter if he has a dip in form. Evan Lewis is your opener. There's no one better than him in the region in limited overs cricket, right? Evan Lewis's ODI record, he averages 40, 500s and 11 50s. Apart from Shea Hope, name someone better. And he wasn't in the team for 3 years. Anyways, big up Evan Lewis. Big knock, 94. It was a pleasure to see live. Obviously, because of the rain, some will say, oh, well, the ball was coming onto the bat a bit better now when the West Indies came out to bat. But the point is, you still have to have the power that Evan Lewis has. You still have to have the shot selection that Evan Lewis has. And you have to have the absolute disdain and belief in your ability that you know when, how, and where to clear the boundary. And Evan Lewis on top form, there's no better opener than him at doing that. So big up Evan Lewis, excellent knock. The only critique I have is Cameron Ponsonby and I were in the box talking when Evan got to 94. If Cameron watches this, he'll confirm this. I said to Cameron when Evan got to 94, Evan's going to try and get to 100 with a 6. And Cameron was like, yeah, I bet he tries to do that. And we were looking at the scorecard going, you can just nudge and nerdle this and your partner will let you get to the 100. Next ball goes for the 6 out. But you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. I call it a slight critique just because it shouldn't be that obvious to me. I'm just a guy, right, who's watching at the end of the day. I shouldn't be able to be like, oh, Evan's going to try and go for a 6 to get this 100. Like, sometimes you have to allow the ego in it. You just have to allow it and just be like, let me get to the 100. But anyways, he did his job. He did his job. Did 94, excellent knock. Casey Carty came in there, the back end, 19 off 20. I'm sure that not out will help his average, and Shea's 6 not out from 10. So anyways, the point is we chased down the revised 157 to win. We had to do it in, I think it was 35 overs we were given after the rain delay. We did it with 10 overs to spare. You can't get as comprehensive as that. So yes, our struggles and woes in Sri Lanka. Granted, we won the final ODI, which was essentially a glorified T20. But back in home conditions, back in familiar climes, short turnaround, and we produced a fantastic performance. Let's hope we can follow it up in the second ODI tomorrow. Obviously, people get at me in the comments below. In terms of the team selection, there's an argument to say you go with the same team, but obviously we're in Antigua, Antiguan celebrations. Is this the time to bring in Joel Andrew? I would argue no, because you've won the first game. But let's see. Let's see. I think you have to go with the same team again. But we shall see. We shall see. The only people you could realistically bring in is Romario Shepherd. May have a shot at getting in, but I don't know who for. They may want to bring in Joel Andrew, but I doubt it. Because who would he even come in for? Shimron didn't get a bat, so how would Joel come in? So it's unfortunate for Joel, but I don't think he's going to bat on Independence weekend. I don't think they'll give him the shot, but they may well. If we win the game tomorrow, I think they'll give Joel a game in Barbados. So people, I've been Machel St. Patrick here at one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. You can see on the ticker tape below, you know what to do. At Carib Cricket, X, Instagram, OnlyFans, Facebook, TikTok, all of those social handles. You can find us. Go to www.caribbeancricketpodcast.com and you'll find all the links to different social handles. And on the way out, like, share, subscribe, all of that. And if you'd like to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, we do actually have a PayPal, you know. Hit me up in the DMs if you're interested in that. But go to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket if you'd like to become a patron and contribute. Listen, people, I'm going to duck out. It's sunny outside. Let me go touch nature. I'll be Machel St. Patrick here at one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. See you all soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.